What's happening, athletes? So I'm 1 week out from Ironman 70.3 Salem, which means it's taper week. One of the goals I had for this training block was to see if I could reduce my overall body fat percentage while increasing my lean muscle mass. To test it, I used the gold standard for body composition testing, DEXA scans. So if you're curious if you can reduce your body fat percentage while increasing lean muscle mass, stick around while I reveal my DEXA results. Let's dig in. All right, athletes, let's talk DEXA scans and how you can use them to track your progress and hopefully achieve the body recomposition that you're hoping to achieve. So why DEXA scan? Well, when I started my triathlon journey, I was 185 pounds. This was in 2020, which was the heaviest I'd ever been in my adult life. And over the last 6 years of racing Ironman, I've definitely seen a reduction in my body weight, but it's come with visible reduction in muscle mass. I could really tell looking at my upper body, but more importantly, I could feel a lack of strength in my legs, specifically the hip flexors and iliopsoas, and then came a string of leg injuries. And this told me I either needed to leave triathlon altogether or revamp my training protocol to improve my muscular strength and hopefully improve my overall health and well-being as well. So I chose a 5-month training window leading into Ironman 70.3 Salem as my training block. Throughout this block, I changed 3 things in my training. Number 1, I added in 2 days of strength training a week at about 40 to 55 minutes per session. The second thing I did was I reduced some running volume, leaving my long efforts in there, but taking out speed work. Third thing I did was I paid very close attention to my overall caloric, both intake as well as my caloric expenditure. So those were the 3 components that I was mapping out over this 5-month period. Now let's take a look at the DEXA results and how I did. All right, athletes, here are my DEXA scans side by side. So February, that was the starting point, and July, that was the ending point. So my body fat percentage was at 16%. This was healthy for a 40-year-old male, but it did fall outside of the elite athlete, which is right about that 15%. So through the changes in my protocol, I was able to reduce my body fat percentage down to 13.3%. So that was a 2.7% reduction in body fat. I was incredibly surprised by this. My total weight went from 164.3 all the way down to 161.2. So a 3-pound weight loss. Now here's where the numbers get very interesting. My fat tissue weighed in at 26.3 back in February, and at this most recent DEXA, my fat tissue was 21.5 pounds. That means just over a 5-month period, I was able to lose 4.7 pounds of fat. That's incredible. Now, lean tissue, this was the one thing I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to increase. I started at 130.9 pounds of lean tissue, and I increased that to 132.6. So that is a 1.7 pound increase to lean tissue or muscle mass. Ultimately, athletes, I was able over a 5-month training block to reduce my body fat percentage and simultaneously increase my lean muscle mass. This is what scientists call body recomposition. So how did I do it, and what are the tips and tricks that you can use to hopefully achieve similar results for your triathlon training? Tip number 1 is humility. I had to remind myself that while I used to lift weights in my youth, I haven't done it for 15 or 18 years consistently. That means I needed to start extremely slowly with very light weights to relearn muscle patterns, then gingerly increase both weights and volume over time. You want to let your body slowly assimilate to the new exercise, then add additional volume. This is called progressive overload. Tip number 2, I closely monitored my caloric intake and my expenditure, trying to back into about a 200 to 300 calorie deficit per day from all the research I did listening to exercise scientists and reading the meta-analysis data that's available. This seemed to be the sweet spot that allows for body fat reduction, but can still give you that opportunity to increase that lean muscle mass. Tip number 3, extremely important. I had to increase my protein intake significantly. Prior to this training block, I was taking in about 85 grams a day, which is definitely on the low end and would explain some muscle loss. So again, leaning on exercise scientists and the data available that says about 70% grams of protein to body weight should be about the ideal zone to increase that muscle mass. So I increased my protein intake to about 120 grams a day. How did I do it? Very simple. I added in a morning protein shake of about 45 grams. Then that allowed me to continue to eat my well-balanced lunch and dinner that has a good amount of healthy fats, carbohydrates, and proteins in there as well. Tip number 4, we need to balance out the training. As I added in more additional strength training, that means I need to remove something from the training block. We can't simply add on top and hope that our results will keep going north. What will generally happen is either fatigue, burnout, or injury. So as I added in strength training, I needed to remove a little bit of the running as we discussed earlier. Trying to find that right balance of maximum recoverable volume is very challenging, but it's easier and better to undershoot it than to overshoot it and get hurt. And tip number 5, which is always the most important, athletes, this is consistency. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. I have good days and I have bad days. But the most important thing we can do as athletes is continue to show up as consistently as possible. If you do this, I promise you will achieve the results you're hoping for over time. Be consistent, be patient, and it will pay off. Now, we talked about the 5 tips. Let's talk about 2 things that you should definitely avoid if your number 1 goal is to reduce body fat percentage and increase lean muscle mass. The first thing to avoid is trying to have too big of a caloric deficit out of the gates. I chose 200 to 300 calories, which is reasonable. Most people, when they're trying to lose weight, will aim for about a 500 caloric deficit. And while this will result in weight loss over time, this caloric deficit is going to make it extremely hard to maintain your lean muscle mass, let alone gain it. So don't go too big out of the gates. Remember, we're trying to strike a balance between weight loss and some muscle gain. The second thing to avoid is piling on too much. If you start like I did with 0 days in the gym and you try to go all the way up to 4 days of strength training, that is going to be a recipe for disaster. Start small and be very conscious of your reps and sets as well. Going too quickly out of the gate might feel good, but it won't lead to that sustainable results that you're hoping to achieve. All right, athletes, I hope that was helpful in shedding light that yes, it is in fact possible, even in hardcore endurance training environments, to reduce your body fat percentage and also increase your lean muscle mass. If you like this content, drop a comment below and let me know, and I'll try to make more videos like it. And as always, hit the like and subscribe button. It not only helps me and the channel out, but it will also keep you up to date on my weekly motivational and training videos as they come out. Thanks for joining me, athletes. As always, I'll see you on the start line.